Alright, what's up everyone, Duquesne23 here. Now, in case if you do not know, I actually play Core quite a bit. It is a game that I love just jumping in and playing some other people's games. And if you don't know what Core is, it is a game where you can create other games. That's pretty much the basic explanation for it. Of course, there's a lot more in-depth explanation and everything, but that is the basic explanation. Like, you can go in there and create your own games. I mean, you could go in there coding and you could create anything you absolutely want. And there's also some great resources where you don't need to code. It's kind of just drag and drop into, you know, a level that you create, and there you go. Now, if you don't want to build any games, there are tons of games within Core that you can also be able to play. But that isn't what we're doing today. Today we're checking out all the new stuff that was added to Core today. So there's a lot of great items added in here. There's a whole bunch of clay. All these little rounded items right here and everything are a whole bunch of different clay. There's no hard edges on there, so you can create some really cool things. Now, in Core's stream, they actually showed off something really awesome that they were able to create it, and I'm showing it here on screen right now. And so you can create some pretty incredible things with just these type of items here. All right, now not only do they add those type of items, they add other things in here like the DNA type of thing here. They got some square stuff. They have some eggs and everything, so some egg-shaped items here. We got some pumpkins, of course. We got teardrop things. We have some rounded objects, like a rounded square, triangles, and teardrop, and just like different types of rounded items here. Here's a sphere with a piece cut out of it and stuff. And then they also added some other type of things that are great for the Halloween type of situation. Now, this is candy. Now, I scaled these up just because, well, you know, it's going to be tough to see because they're normally pretty small. So I scaled them up a little bit so you're able to see the candy a little bit better. And of course, some oil lanterns and things on here. So that is some of the stuff that they added in this most recent update. Another group of items that they added is conveyor belts. Now, this will be great for people who make those tycoon games. Now, and of course, other type of instances, but that's the first thing that I think of whenever I see something like this is those tycoon games. People can add these type of conveyor belts and everything into their tycoon games, so they can actually have a nice visual, pleasing, you know, conveyor belt instead of necessarily having to create something themselves, which they could of course do that if they would prefer to change it up and make, you know, a completely different looking conveyor belt. Okay, and so the next thing that we actually check out is the materials. They added 15 new materials onto here. So you can go ahead and see a whole bunch of different style of materials here. A lot of them, of course, are Halloween themed because Halloween is coming up. That makes a lot of sense. Even this one, that could be a Beetlejuice type of thing. Don't say his name 3 times. But that can definitely be that. But then we also get this one right here, which is really interesting to me, just because of the fact that it's pulsing. Like, it's cool. It's called a Trimble displacement material on here, so you can actually have some cool pulsing item. I can, you know, imagine people using this for like boom boxes, you know, in the speakers and stuff, kind of pulsing, and of course other type of things. You can make a heart that's pulsing or something using this. And then we have over here is a transparent iridescent, which is really nice to be able to have, just so you can make kind of like bubble looking things that's nice and transparent and stuff. And then here's another little digital thing, and we got an ice cave looking deal here. So they added a lot of really cool materials. People are going to be able to add some really awesome things for some Halloween themed stuff, which I can't wait to see. But now let's go ahead and move on to the effects. Now, there are 2 effects that they did add on here. One of them is a speed motes, which basically gives you the speed effect, or you can just use it for anything else. Like if you want to use a lift or something, and then you can use that here if you really want to. And then this one doesn't really show up unless you go in here. At least I noticed is that whenever you go in, there it is right there. It shows up for a little bit. It's a flare billboard VFX there. So there it is. You got to see it again right there. And then here is another last thing. This is going to be a decal that they added onto here. So they added a Halloween decal. Now, of course, this decal, you know, you can do what you want with it. You can, of course, expand it bigger and all that type of stuff. I just put it on this single block here so you can see it upright. But if you wanted to put it on the ground, you can 100% put it on the ground if that's really what you feel like doing. But there's a nice little decal right here, so people can make some interesting backdrops and stuff probably using this type of decal. Now these aren't the only things that they added into the actual game on here. These are just some of the stuff, like some of the objects and the materials and FXs and stuff like that. But they added a whole bunch of audio items in here, so be sure to go check out the patch notes. The link to that will be in the description down below. But yeah, they've added tons of audio things in here that, of course, I'm not going to be clicking on loading up every single audio bit, because that would be a little much loading up each audio bit. All right, and another thing that they added into the create area, normally like you have your projects here and everything, but if you want to start a new project, of course you can go empty, but they have also this here. This is an example project of the Gatherables and inventory. So this is an example showcasing the Gatherables tools and inventory system that they have on here. So let me go ahead and put Gatherables, that's a weird word to say, and we will go ahead and jump in here and check out this new gatherable deal. Let me go ahead and click it into full screen so you don't see all the editing stuff. But right here, they pretty much show you an example of how to do everything. Like, when you press play, the proxy objects are replaced with the current, with the correct templates and stuff. So this is just a really great way of implementing something into your game, and it's very simple. It doesn't require all the insane coding that some people like myself, aren't necessarily able to do. So whenever you go ahead and hit play, all those items that were right there, I'll go ahead and go back. All these little items right here get, turned into the correct template of what they should actually be. So whenever you hit play, you go in here and it's like boom, and you have their pickaxe here, your normal axe, and of course your flint and steel for this. And so we'll go ahead and go through and talk about each one. You won't be able to use your normal axe on this. It's naturally just pickaxe breaks stones, but you hit it and there you go, it breaks apart and you gather some stone. Now you can fully adjust this in the editor itself. Like, actually, whenever you go in, I will go ahead and go back into this. Now you can fully adjust all these type of things off of everything. I'm not the person necessarily to do this type of stuff, but you can go in and you can gatherable stones, and here's all like the different gatherable stones right here. You could go in and completely edit exactly, for whatever you want, drop for all player, and stuff. Like, there's all this is editable here of whatever you want on here, so you can actually read. So drop max distance, just a single player drops. You can check that if you just want single player drops. There's a template, drop on gather, there's just a lot of different settings that you can put in here and change up if you want to for your own personal game. Now let's go ahead and jump back into the full screen mode and go back over here. And so great thing is yeah, you go ahead and you collect some of this. If you notice, I'm collecting some of the stone as I break it. And then you can go ahead and hit I and go into your inventory. And this is already down here. Let me go ahead and see. You can see it down there, F4. But if you go into your inventory, you're able to drag it in there. So that's dragged into your inventory. And it will, of course, save and it'll persist. If you leave the game and come back in, you'll still have your 13 stone, which is great. That's something that's, very easy. This is a great way of just doing something basic for people that don't know how to code. They can, of course, implement this into their games. And of course, if you want to trash it, you can trash it, and so it'll go away. And also another thing that you can do is you can, of course, make it to where it drops on the ground if you just drag it out of here. So if I just drag it out of here, then it's right there on the ground. Now, of course, you can go ahead and hit F and it'll come back in. So that's if you want to drop it for other people. Like if you have a friend that you're playing with and you want to drop some stone for them, you can go ahead and do that. Naturally, the pickaxe does not work for the trees, but as you hit the tree, it'll break apart, it'll go through, and it fully breaks, and then it's down. So this is just great for just any type of survival gathering game or anything like that. You're able to use this, and this is just a basic cube, so you can of course attach any of the objects type of stuff, the gatherable objects, onto stuff, and you can just use anything really you want with a basic cube and stuff. So right here is just as an example of clearing ivy. So this is an example of you can click the ivy right there and it'll break it all apart so you can clear it, so you can run through a certain section. Here's storage. This is an example of a container storage. Each player would see their own inventory in it. So you click on it, and if I want to drag the 10 wood into there, I don't have it in my my character inventory, but it is right here in the chest, and each player would see their own inventory. So it's not like, some other player could come in here and steal all your stuff on there. And then here's some torches, and you're able to actually light them with the flint and steel. So this will be good for like dungeons, and they do go out after a certain amount of time. And now I know you can go into the settings of these torches and make them last longer if you want them to, but I think these are set to after 10 seconds they go out. So that's definitely really interesting. And then over here we have ourselves a key pickup. You go ahead and pick up that key, you hit 5. So you're equipped your key on there, and you go ahead and click that, and it's like, whoa, the chest opens, and I opened up with a key, and then you can have it to where you collect stuff if you want and things like that. Now here is the bridge repair, which is another thing. So you go ahead and collect these wood pieces here, and you could come up to the bridge with your wood pieces in hand and go ahead and build the actual bridge itself, which is great. This will be awesome for people building things. Like, you got to collect a certain amount of wood or planks or something like that, and then you could go and you could build certain items to be able to get to other areas. Now these are different Halloween doors, which this is hilarious. You go up to them, click them, they give you candy. Awesome. Thank you so much for the candy. I appreciate that. And then the Halloween doors would disappear, and it'll respawn in a different random location. So you can set up these doors to go trick-or-treating at houses or something like that, or whatever you want. And not all doors will necessarily be able to open and give you candy, because there's some people who do not give out candy at Halloween, and those are terrible people. But you can go ahead and do that, which is pretty cool. And then here, the last but not least, is a pizza scene. So you can go up to pizza, which unfortunately I don't think you can do it here, but I did watch on their live stream how they made it to where you can gather different slices of the pizza, and it's just a great way of just having, like different stuff like that. It says find the scene window and then open the scene called Gatherables Isometric. There's a very simple example of using a top-down type of camera and no tool or inventory. So there you go. There's a pizza scene. I'm not going to go ahead and spawn that just because, but yeah, this is great. I love the fact that they are doing this on here, because this makes it a whole lot easier for people who want to make games where it's the survival games, because survival games are a lot of fun. I love playing survival games. So being able to come over here and just like hit something and collect, and it breaks all apart in different ways and everything. It's great, and it automatically has an inventory system, so you can drag your inventory stuff in there. So it's really cool. It's awesome. I'm excited to be able to check out games using this. I might create something using this. I did make a game a while ago. I haven't really made anything new. I've been tinkering with some of the new items that they have put into core and everything, and I'm trying to think of a game that I want to be able to make, but I also might just make environments and not necessarily a game around it, but just make some environments, because that is something that I love doing. I love making beautiful environments and things in games. So that'll be it for the core update. This was a fairly long video, but if you haven't checked out core, there is a link down below in the description to go check it out. I do work with core, and so I do get a little kickback if y'all do click my link and use it. If you don't want to use my link, that's perfectly fine. Just look up core, and you can go ahead and find their information. You can go onto the Epic Games Store and download core that way on there. If you do go on the Epic Games Store and you want to use my code, it's Duquesne23 on there too. If not, that's fine. Just go check out this game. It's a lot of fun. The people have made a lot of cool stuff in this game, and so I'll definitely be featuring some things that I do find periodically on here. So again, thank you everyone for coming out. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all in the next video.